our way, and just want to congratulate the board and the bond team. We had a fantastic year. We made some huge accomplishments with some very short durations to make things happen. But with the tremendous work with Keith and Dave Shulkin and Randy, certainly we got through it. And with respect to punch list items, right now we're saying about 90% of all of our punch list identified items we've reached, and so we're really hoping to have that at 100% by year end. So we can just run through that if you want.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Thank you. So Mr. Wills and I are here to report on basically some of the 2023 accomplishments. We're going to talk a little bit about what's coming up in 2024 with respect to projects we already have in process. And we're going to talk a little bit about our design development we're currently working on for future projects. We're going to talk about the transportation center, give the board a quick update and the community as to where we're at with that. I'm going to touch on the finances and where we're at with our bond schedule. And then we're going to conclude with just giving the board a quick update on our mapping with respect to when we'll be coming back to the board with bid pack recommendations and so forth. So first, want to touch on our district accomplishments for the elementary schools and how that is relates to what we promised the community. We hit all our check marks. So we delivered on pretty much everything that we needed to with respect to the new additions, renovations at Conant and Way. Kindergarten room renovations at Eastover and Lone Pine turned out to be fantastic, a big success there. We implemented safety, security, new ADA compliancy, handicap accessibility, and certainly municipal code requirements. All those were implemented into the elementary schools. Some of the educational improvements include the new front of the classroom displays, new technology, devices, and some infrastructure, wireless and things like that upgraded and implemented. Critical infrastructure upgrades and improvements also went into place, card access, things of that nature, fob detection. We put in new playground equipment at both the elementaries, and then site work improvements, which we're not completely wrapped up with yet, but that includes landscaping and parking lot realignments and new paving projects. A couple quick pictures here of the improvements. We've got the typical new kindergarten classroom, highlighting the new cubbies and sinks and lockers. We've got the playground equipment that's been installed, Ingenuity Lab with all the new furniture, bright, colorful spaces with the LED lighting. Turning our attention over to the middle schools. So again, we hit all the boxes that we promised we would deliver on. The new construction of renovations of the North Hills Middle School, absolutely a beautiful school. New additions and renovations at the South Hills Middle School. The new natatorium that's being opened up at North, which we passed our fire and life safety today, so we're really making, that was a huge accomplishment. So we're actually on track to having that work completed ahead of schedule. The athletic field improvements at South, the safety, security, again, the municipal code upgrades we had to implement, educational improvements, again, front of classroom, technology devices, infrastructure, and then again, some site work, the new landscaping and parking pods out in the front of the site. Some neat pictures here just showing what the natatorium is looking like currently. As you can see, it's pretty much ready to be opened. They're going through and putting the flags up currently, getting the emergency phones installed. The new video display board is up, being connected now. We've got the new auditorium that went into place with the new seating and stage. The softball field at North, which is brand new, looks amazing for a middle school. It's nicer than most of the high schools that I've seen. And then obviously the new sports turf field that has been implemented over at South, just phenomenal, and really is giving the district a lot more opportunities for their kids at the school. So what are we working on right now in current projects? So we are wrapping up the baseball and softball field upgrades at the high school. We've implemented the new turf. We are working on finalizing some of the spectator seating around the softball field, putting the existing seating back in place at the baseball, and then we are installing some emergency devices that are being required by code. Blooming East, which we just started demolition on, and obviously the goal is that we'll be moving the occupants from Fox Hills over to Blooming East, starting in, it will be the start of the new school year. So what we're doing now is the demo. We got the new secure vestibule going in place, main office, the interior cosmetic renovations that will be taking place, casework, paint, flooring, cubicles, new doors, hardware, signage. We've got selected furniture and equipment that's going into place, life safety upgrades throughout, mechanical upgrades, and parking lot modifications. So that work has started and is on track to be completed before school year of next year. Just a couple quick pictures. There's an aerial of the new softball field and baseball field that has been completed. The netting and poles and fence adjustments are taking place currently. And then you can see over at Blooming East, the demolition where the ceiling is now out, ripping out all the old cable, tearing down some of the partition walls and some of the other things, flooring in the corridors, and preparation for the new lighting and flooring, and all the other nice improvements that are going to be going in. So what are we working on for 24? Some big stuff. We've got the Wellness Center and the concessions addition that's going to be taking place. So we're going to have a beautiful new Wellness Center that is going to be attached to the high school. That is going to be close for the first and second floor, close to a 10,000 square foot addition. That is going to include speed and agility training for the students. We've got designated weightlifting and cardio equipment that's going to be going in. We have facility and athletic designated storage we're creating. We're updating and introducing some public and family restroom redesigns. We've got team meeting rooms and restrooms for the players that are going in. We've got some outdoor storage for some of the track equipment. And then we are extending the existing concession center with new equipment, making it a little bit more user-friendly for the patrons to come up and get some concessions. With that, we are starting the work now at the elementary schools, which we've deemed phase 2. And what is phase 2? That's getting the new secure vestibules designed and ready to be implemented, reconfiguration of the existing vestibules at Eastover and Lone Pine. We've got classroom technology. The new flat screens are going to be going in. We've got security upgrades, card access and things going in. And then obviously we're going to be procuring and installing all of the new classroom furniture over the summer of '24. So that will be really exciting for the teachers and the students to see coming in the fall. Here's a couple of renderings which I've showed the board before of what the new wellness addition will look like, both exterior and interior. As you can see, it's going to be state-of-the-art and will be second to none within the state here. At this time, I'll turn over to Paul. He's going to talk a little bit about the finances and the schedule, and then talk about transportation.
Thank you, Alan, and good evening, board. One of the things that we've done on a regular basis, especially working with the finance committee with the board, is give the financial models of where we're at to date. As Alan mentioned, with the completion of phase 1, which was really to allow the district to get in a K-5, 6, 8, 9, 12 cohort, that represent about $114 million. As you can see with the Wellness Center, some of the additional work in the phase 2 portions of the elementaries, that takes us to about $146.5 million of work, either in place or currently in design. Roughly $53.9 million of future. So again, Mr. Dresselhouse will talk about what do the future bid packs look like as a board and as a community. We've taken a look at some of the scope. So again, when you plan a bond back in 2020, 2019, you really do a space and scope validation. So we've had a chance to do that, identify projects that, let's say, potentially may not be needed. So for instance, there was a placeholder for asbestos. The district's done a really nice job over the years of not necessarily having to take out the asbestos as part of the bond. I'm also looking at mechanical, electrical, and some other critical infrastructure, as well as technology. The district actually had a transfer of about $735,000 from the food services to pay for the new kitchen equipment over at the middle schools, which has been great. At the end of the day, we're tracking very well. The other thing that we're identifying and tracking is you've invested that first 2 series of bonds. It's generated about $2.4 million of interest earnings. So again, be working with the Finance Committee and ultimately with the board. Coming back sometime in the December and January timeframe to say as we go into those design programs, what are some of those things that we should be considering to make sure that we're really tracking to the 4 pillars of the bond program itself. So switching gears a little bit, so this was something that was asked of the board. We had a presentation in May. that showed a couple different options for transportation. So as part of the bond plan back in 2020, it was to really go purchase a site and construct about a 25,000 square foot facility for transportation operations and physical plant. You see the breakdown between the $2.5 million for purchasing land and $11 million for constructing the structures. In May of 22, so just over a year and a half ago, we looked at a presentation of looking at potentially 4 sites for purchase and development. Unfortunately, with Bloomfield, a lot of those sites back up to residential neighborhoods. And then we looked at the 6 sites currently owned by the district. So again, we gave a presentation this past summer really looking at conserving green space. Also cognizant of that the price for construction is up about 35 to 40% for steel masonry type constructions. So at the end of the due diligence period, we're here today because of the cost escalation, because a lot of the new properties are basically in the same kind of situation you're at with the current facility. The bond program team is recommending that the maintains the current facility, allocate roughly $4 million for site improvements, sound attenuation, enhancing the bay service bays, et cetera, but keep the transportation facility where its current location is at. What that would do is then allow the board to potentially reallocate those funds for transportation, again, looking at the educational environment, looking at some of those critical infrastructure items going forward. So again, that's kind of where we're at with the update for the transportation center update itself. I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Dresselhouse, who will kind of walk us through what the remaining bid packs look like, as well as the bidding timeframe. So thank you.
Thanks, Paul. So this slide just represents where we've been, where we're going, and what decisions yet need to be made. So as you can see, bid packages 1 through 6.3 are complete. We're now kind of into the next set where we're tracking, but we also are going to be coming on key board decisions such as the elementary schools phase 3. And that really is focused on interior enhancements, carpet, VCT, painting, millwork, lighting, from what monies we would have left perhaps in the bond to make sure we had consistency at all the elementaries. And then obviously we need to make some decisions with regards to transportation and maintenance. So this is just a very high level, and it is shared on the website. This is a quick touch point as to where you can expect bid pack to come to the board for approval and recommendation. As you can see, the high school athletic renovations, which is the wellness center, it's out to bid, went out to bid today, and we are hoping to come to the board in mid-January with our bid pack results on that and recommendations for funding for the wellness center. With that also, we are coming to the board shortly thereafter that with high school athletic gateway, which would be some more or less an entrance from the parking pods onto the athletic fields of more of a welcoming type of entrance with a little ticket booths and perhaps some additional restrooms or smaller restrooms that could be serviced by the home stands over there. We have the elementary school phase 2, so everything is being designed right now for the elementary school phase 2, which I alluded to was the kind of the core infrastructure stuff, things that necessarily aren't visual but are impactful, such as all the Dable cabling, the technology, the Wi-Fi installation, the new Wi-Fi installation, security cameras, furniture will be part of that as well. So you can see we're targeting that to be coming to the board sometime in February for procurement. Obviously, we'll be wanting to start that work as soon as school gets out in June. And then we have some other things on here. We've got the building demolition, which we're going to be looking to do, at least start the process at Fox Hills as soon as we can move the occupants and the materials out of there over to the new school. So we'll be looking to do that in probably, I would say September of 2024, taking the building down in the fall, maybe into the winter of 2025. Then we're going to be working on the phase 3 of the elementary schools, which is what I stated, the painting, the cabinetry, flooring, lighting, and with decisions the board will make here over the next few months, we'll have a better idea of if we have the ability to put additional monies into doing some additional improvements into those elementary schools for phase 3. And then we have Blooming West renovations, which is on hold right now, pending what we decide to do with Conant in the pre-K classrooms, and then also robotics, which has been discussed, transportation and maintenance, which we're going to be talking about, obviously, and then the farm, IA, high school renovations, booth, all that would be beginning probably the spring of '26, and we're still looking to conclude all of this work, the bond work, by December of 2026. So with that, that concludes the quarterly report, and open it up for questions.
So Paul and Alan, what is the plan for coming out with a detailed plan for transportation center as well as the Blooming Preschool West? What are the timing there? We had TBDs for both.
That's a great idea. So great question. So again, if the board's desire is to, again, keep it on site, we've got a great communication with Jake McDermott, his transportation of really what needs to be done to that facility so we could put some cost modeling into it. So we'd probably look to meet with the finance committee sometime in mid to late December, and then maybe come back to the full board that January timeframe to say if this is the direction. Same thing with Blooming West. We've got a price to raise the roof to kind of create that competition where the current media center is at, and then really taking a look at the funds that are available at Conant, again, transfer over. So again, that'd kind of be a one-for-one versus transportation, which is a total difference of really what was originally planned. So probably in that December timeframe, working with the committee and ultimately the full board in that January timeframe.
And then assuming it comes to the board with a recommendation in January, how long would it take to execute that?
Yeah, so the good news is, from a design perspective, the existing transportation facility would probably be a 4 to 5 month design time frame. We'd want to go out for bid sometime in the late summer, early fall. Okay. That work could probably take place continuously, just like we've done at South. Same thing with Blooming West. It's a vacant facility, with the exception of Blooming that's currently there. So that would be something we'd want to work around. So that'd be something that could be year-round type construction. So similar time frame, probably 6 to 8 months on the design perspective. Probably bid out in summer, fall of '24, and then have it ready for that next summer of '25. So about a year earlier than was initially anticipated on that '26 time frame.
All right, thank you, PMRC.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.